If it does, I'll think of something else. Got a hard time. All right, gang. I show 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Everybody would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right on. Next up, we got a new agenda item. New agenda items?
So again, just as a reminder, it's not necessarily new, it just wasn't on the document, but our procurement process was for the weight equipment, which is under consent items. So
Okay,
when we
I'll
get
got that hand up.
when we get to consent, if there's questions from you as a board of trustees, we do have several stakeholders here that could probably answer the questions if I cannot.
Excellent. Anybody got anything else? Additions or modifications to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, what that procurement is, we have not reviewed that one for the weight room.
So this is the weight room initiative that we talked about earlier. So this is a procurement that's in front of you. So this is the one item that was kind of falls in between the 25,000 and 50,000 that went through the procurement team. So that is in front of you. I do apologize. Last week, this was something that was not caught, but I solidly stand behind the process that we went through the procurement team, and Mr. Camino is sitting behind us, can answer any questions in reference to going out to bid and what that process looks like. And then we have another gentleman right next to him. Anyway, he's here and interested in the process. So thank you, Mr. Rupert. Okay.
I didn't hear that. You're interested in that?
The process on the weight equipment we have.
We're not going to use it again.
Yeah, we have a big pitch there.
And Connie has a recommendation to the board to follow board policy on how we
Dispose of
Yep.
unnecessary or no longer needed equipment. Okay. So is that got you covered, Jen? Everything?
Yes, thank you, I'm sorry.
Yep, no worries. Okay, anything else additions? All right, so roll call. One member present by phone call. We've got Vice Chair Verplanke here on the speakerphone. So if she shouts at us, we can't hear or repeat that. Everybody sort of be patient, and I will do my best to restate whatever we were going over so she can hear it as well.
So Travis also is a board chair, just as a reminder, it's a little different environment that we're here tonight. So we ask that everybody speak up if there are questions so that it can be heard on the camera that's located right over here with the audio. So a little different than what we've done before.
Yeah.
Okay? All right.
Like I say, everybody bear with us. If we have questions or need to repeat things, we'll do it slowly and try to fight through.
Yep.
All right, public comment. Looks like this evening we have 3 of them up. Who's in first, Heidi?
I don't know if it matters.
Volunteers, public comment. I've got Kim Davis, Zach Davis, and Bill Joy. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
Come on up.
Want me up front in the hot seat again?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Zach Davis.
Well, I enjoyed it so much last time, I thought I'd come to every meeting. Here tonight to address a text message you all received this morning or sometime today from our superintendent addressing my family. A text was sent out by your superintendent and it reads, Davis had a meeting with Ryan this morning. They are filing a formal complaint. They have informed other parents of what happened and expect immediate termination of all coaches. They also feel that administrators are not doing their job. Well, I guarantee you not one thing in there is true, because I didn't have a meeting with Ryan Mayer. Did not go to panel, to the school. Did not ask for immediate firing. I did not file a formal complaint. And I don't know why everybody is so butthurt over the firing or resigning of our previous coach that they would want to liably slander my name and my family. and continue the process because you're not hurting me. I don't care. Ones you're hurting are sitting right back there.
So, Mr. Chair, at some point in time, I'd like to answer to that question.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Perfect.
So, in that process, I received a text message, and I just forwarded that text message on to the Board of Trustees, all right, which is part of my process and part of the expectation the board has of me of open communication. So I received that from building leadership. So to say that is something that I directly said, that's me forwarding information onto them that I received in this process, okay?
I don't know what process we're in. We had a coach resign, you hired a new one, and you're setting something out with my name in it about something that didn't occur.
So with that, this is probably an executive session hearing,
I hope you have one afterwards and your board asks some questions.
because I will also forward the text message that I received from you Friday night at 7 p.m.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell them what it said.
It said, we had 5 qualified applicants and you hired the least qualified for the girls program. Good job. Maybe a little more explicit, but after what happened to us in the grocery store, I'm not on contractual hours, I guess.
So
I'm
in
not
that-
held liable.
So in that process, we're starting to get into personnel issues. I would strongly suggest to the Board of Trustees, because there's more to that. If we're gonna do anyone, I took the recommendation from the AD and the principal who established the interview process. The process was held, there was an interview process, so again, I would ask as a Board of Trustees, you understand that there's a process. And if we're gonna get into the details of me as a superintendent and my role in communicating to you what I received from building leadership, then we need to go into executive.
Fair enough. We will tuck that in. We've got executive scheduled at the end.
Perfect. I hope the process is over because I'm tired of it.
So with that, I would ask that Gib, that you stay for executive.
Do you need me there too?
That's up to the board.
Board, do we have further questions or require?
Because I'm ready to get it all out black and white.
We don't have, you don't need to stay, but if you would prefer to, that's fine too. You can do it whichever way would make you feel like we have heard your
Well,
concerns.
I don't know why this is directed at my family. The complaints that were on the previous coach, there were 10 families. Ours just happened to be one of them that was with the 10. The last time I spoke to Gib or Ryan Mader was like March 27th or 15th, and have not seen the man since except the last board meeting.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so maybe just saying you should stay because something happened that we got an email saying this was said, and he's saying that he did not meet with anybody, so we're getting into kind of I don't know.
Somebody's either telling a lie or I showed up at school for a meeting this morning and I know I didn't do that.
Right, so maybe just, do you,
Yep, I
should we
can.
have him?
You don't mind that?
Yep, all right, take that back. I met with Ryan on April 10th at 1:30 at BHS, and that's the last time I've seen him besides the board meeting you had in May. So I sure didn't have one this morning.
Okay.
Whether you want to discuss personnel issues or not, it's time for you guys to look in and do your job.
Fair enough. We'll tack that into executive. If you stay, we'll have questions or call you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, public comment. Kim Davis.
I guess I'm just gonna finish off on where he said, because I felt like we circled a little bit around. The fact can't be denied that there was a lie that was sent. A text message went out that said we had a meeting. I have our Life 360 documents. I didn't leave the ranch today until I came here. Somebody is lying, and like Zach said, you're only hurting those kids. And I don't know why these lies are being made up, because it's not true. I haven't spoken to Ryan Mader since April 10th. If you count the meeting, I saw him the last school board meeting.
So if there's something that I missed, then I will.
Well,
do
who
it.
told you we had a meeting this morning?
So let's get into executive and have that
Yep.
discussion.
We'll address that
Absolutely.
in executive.
Because somebody's lying here and it's not us. And I screenshotted our Life 360.
In fairness, if I've done something wrong, I will admit to it, but I am not going to sit here and say that we didn't follow the process, all right?
There's not a process. A text message was sent that Davis has had a meeting with Ryan today and we're demanding firing of all the coaches. False, false, false. And I'm sick and tired of it because it's our name. And we are not bad people.
Okay, so we'll address that. I assume you will also stay for executive if you would like to. Okay, next up, Bill Joy.
Well, I appreciate the process. I was involved with it as far as hiring at the last time when Coach Leppert was hired and was involved with that. I am here as a person that is very passionate about basketball, and I'm very passionate about Lady Bison basketball. I've coached for over 20 years, and I coached 4 years as the assistant basketball coach for the Lady Bison, and in 5 years at Arvada Claremont High School. I am just here to tell you that I believe that kind of mistakes have been made, and obviously the leadership there has to make their decisions. But I believe that you have an individual within the school system that has the potential to be an incredible long-term basketball coach for the Lady Bison. And I can't imagine why we as a community wouldn't want that. And Coach Leppert, like I said, I listened when I was there. He only wanted to be about a 6-year program and when he started there. So again, just a small tenure. And then I have absolutely nothing against John Hepp. He's a proven coach. He's coached girls. He's had state championships, but I don't believe he's probably looking at a long tenure either. But this gal, and of course Morgan Krimmers, I coached her through the 4 years of her high school career. And I can tell you that I have never coached a kid that had more passion about the game of basketball, had more leadership skills, and more will to win than Morgan. And let me give you an example real quickly. We were playing in a state championship, the first game, when Morgan was a junior, and I had 4 seniors that started with her. Halftime, we're down 16, and I made a great halftime speech. I'm sure that was it. But come out of that, we get in the huddle. Morgan looks at those 4 seniors and says to them, "I do not want to lose this game." That was verbatim what she said. I said, "Go team." And they go out there, and Morgan backed it up. The other team actually scored the first 2 points, so now we're down 18. She makes a 3. She does several other great plays. Our rest of our players catch fire. In 3.5 minutes, we'd erased 18 points. Okay? Game goes back and forth. Fourth quarter, about 3.5 minutes left. One of their girls shoots a free throw. The ref calls it off that she stepped over the line. The other coach blew up, gets a technical. I turned to my assistant coach to decide. We had 2 girls, Morgan and one other gal that was a senior who could shoot the free throw. I turned to him, say, "Who do we shoot? Who do you think be the best?" Turn around, Morgan's at the line. She's already there and makes both of them. Just tremendous will to win, tremendous leadership qualities. The other thing that I think makes her just an obvious candidate to be a long-term coach is her great fortune that she had to coach with Diane Mosier at Tongue River. And in my opinion, Diane Mosier is probably the greatest girls basketball coach in Wyoming history. And if not the greatest, there's a couple others that are right up there too. She's one of the best. And Morgan had 2 years with her to learn how you build a program, how you successfully continue to have a program that is competitive at the state level and wins championships. And then the other thing about Morgan that I think makes her an incredible choice is that not only did she play 4 years of collegiate ball, but she also coached 1 year as an assistant coach at Northwest College. So she has collegiate coaching experience, collegiate playing experience, which can be valuable to girls that are looking to continue at the next level. She's got that experience that can not only tell them what they need to do to get to that level, but can assist them. So I'm just here to say that, I get why we didn't hire Morgan the first time, because she's any better than any of the other candidates at this point in time, but I believe she has the potential to be outstanding and here for a long time. She's not going anywhere. She's in the system, her families are here, she's gonna be here. I believe that that would be an incredible choice for a coach. Can I guarantee that she'll be successful? No. But my heart tells me that she's got what it takes, those qualities, to be an excellent coach: passion, will to win, and leadership. Thank you.
Okay, next up, additions and accept the agenda. Anybody got additions? Changes to the agenda, going once?
So I guess I would ask the question is, do we want to bump executive session up so these folks don't have to sit here all night?
I guess I'm opposed to changing the agenda that we all spent so much time getting together at the work session. So I would not be in favor of that, but the board gets to make that decision, not me. So, board?
I move to accept the agenda as presented. Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the agenda as presented. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Chairman?
Yes.
Who was the second, please?
Casey, sorry, Lynette, my mistake.
Lynette, thank you. Tell her when you come back.
All opposed, same sign. Jody, I couldn't hear you if you answered.
Rough time to come back. I'm gonna go feed my
I
kids.
said no.
Okay.
I would like to push it up to the people, but that's okay.
Okay, Jody was an A.
I want to be an A too, I'd like to. Are you guys going to stick around?
I'm an A. Yeah, I'm gonna go feed my children.
Okay, we've got 3 nays. Jody, Marcia, and Dave all voted nay. Okay. All right, with that, next up, district level reports. Did anybody have questions for curriculum and learning? I nerded out just a little bit and asked Steve to run comparisons for how our students scored year over year, just us. And the report it stated, we compared to state average and the other results we got. I said, tell me how we did against us last year. He already had the stuff already ran all the numbers and said, they're here. So anyway, I had some questions. Steve covered them faster than I could type them in.
It was a good report.
Yes.
Also, just real quick too, I'm behind here.
Right.
Behind the scenes. We made our curriculum pages live on that was Monday, June 3rd. It took 5 hours before they actually became useful. A family came into the district office and they were asking about metal art and all the different features that you guys teach. So it was a perfect opportunity. Here, let me run my laptop, and it was live, and we were able to click on curriculum maps. So the purpose served it, that situation perfectly. So that, again, we're transparent. We have nothing to hide.
Yep.
Again, we're trying to make sure that assessments aren't they're viewable for anybody. That's for our teachers, of course. But there are certain elements that we need to be transparent. So it is working. So and we have a lot of work to do. It's still under construction, but we're on our way.
It's a massive project. That's a ton of information, but I'm glad it's up and running. Jody, did you catch that? No. Must have. All right. Special services. Anybody questions here? Hearing none. Business report. Questions on the business report? Okay, hearing none. Next up, principal reports. Mr. Superintendent, do you want to launch these ones off? I assume the feature's Casey, but I might not be right.
There's no highlights this month.
There's
No highlights this month. Okay. That case, anybody with questions for BHS?
Did you start summer school?
We did. So the time I wrote my report, I think I had written there that there were 4 students that qualified for our credit recovery. 2 students attended English. One of them was done last week. The other one, I believe, will complete probably by tomorrow. So
Is that 4 in the whole school?
that's correct.
Wow. Good
Yeah,
job.
that's pretty impressive.
Clear Creek. Anybody got questions for Clear Creek Middle School? Welcome, Mr. Glassick, the new Clear Creek Middle School principal.
It's not yet.
Not yet, we're close.
July 1st.
Right, so.
Right before the fireworks.
Cloud Peak. Anybody got Cloud Peak questions?
Did I miss, do you have summer school? Does Cloud Peak have summer school? They do? Yeah. How many? I must have missed it. I believe he has 8. What's that? 8. Okay, I must have missed it. Sorry. I didn't read it.
Meadowlark. I like the kids' answers in the video this time. The Florida ones were very fun.
I like that.
The best part about that is Mom reached out and said they're really not going to Florida till December.
Yeah.
After.
Well, you can see that stick on your mind,
They're
though.
kind of excited, I guess.
I like the dad and Billy bars too.
Yeah.
KC School. Anybody got questions for KC? All right, New West.
So Travis, I don't know if this is a question that I ask now or I ask Mr. Zink later, but in your report, you said you were going to put a new bathroom in, and as I visited with Travis, I thought we were thinking about doing a remodel or an addition to that. What
So
happened
Dave,
to
I'll
that?
answer that question. So absolutely. So the process is coming back to it, but we also want to be very clear that that's the number one thing that got identified is the bathroom space wasn't adequate enough.
Correct.
So in that process, it was my understanding and okay that we needed to fix that, but we're still looking at a remodel and an update of that. But in the meantime, the bathrooms have been identified as not meeting their needs. And we've been told that there's a kitchen. So in addition to the upgrades to the bathroom is adding a sink for food service. So in the meantime, we're behind with engineers, we're behind with the process, but the reality is I did initiate that conversation with Mr. Zink to get Mr. Hansen's facilities up to meet the needs of the kids, which is the number one complaint. The bathrooms didn't meet the number of kids. And we were struggling with a wash bay for food service. So we are still in the process of looking at adding and doing a remodeling, but in the meantime, before all of that comes to the table, we still needed to address those main issues.
So has Levi has he gotten back with you on some cost estimates?
So
on the building we looked at in Marietta?
he transferred that to another architect because he's behind, so we had that conversation with him.
So this is what I'm hearing from you is this will not happen before the next school year.
There's absolutely no way we could do a remodel between now and August 1st.
Okay. That's what I need to
And
know.
even importing that.
And I have to be honest, you as a board would have to tell me to come up with what our estimate was, another $1.2 million. So in that process to come up with another $1 million means a restructure of our budget and look at where we're headed with what our goals are. But Travis and Dave as the chairman of the board, I as a superintendent am just trying to meet the needs of what New West has in the meantime. But
Just a priority.
the financial piece of any type of remodel or addition to a school is something that you needed as a board direct me on how much I'm going to put away and how much we want to put towards that. It's not opposed to it, but I just did a $900,000 increase to salaries, bases, and trying to get the district in a financial place. So we're going to pump some money into meeting those needs. So Mr. Zink has done nothing more than what I've asked him to do. My understanding that he's worked with Mike and the architect is coming in to do a virtual of the building, correct?
It's some sort of scan, I can't remember the name, LiDAR or something like that.
Yeah, later.
So that way we have that data when we look at the Arvada modular, a new modular, or an addition and what that's gonna look like. And we'll have the data, because there is no data on that building. So that's the first step.
Sure. Figure out how to tie into the existing. That's
Yep.
perfectly sensible.
So John, do you think that will happen before the school year, the new school year?
What's that?
The
The
scan.
additional restroom and wash bay?
Let me rephrase that wash bay. We're putting in a kitchen sink in.
Well, at home I use it as a wash.
In the motor. When you say wash bay, that changes plumbing big time. For air gap and standards and all that, we put in a kitchen sink.
So the kitchen sink part of the food services, we have to have some place for food service to wash their hands.
And with Mr. Hanson, we looked at that space and I think it'd be better than the sink that they have now.
I think that what Mr. Zink was showing me in terms of what the plans could be for remodeling that bathroom space makes a really efficient use of taking, if you can remember in the hallway, we've got basically a bathroom vanity. And that's not something you want to dump your ramen noodles down, right? And so taking and moving that plumbing to the other side of that kitchen wall, so that's where we can actually have a proper kitchen sink. Just that will be a 100% upgrade from where we're at. So really efficient thinking on that end.
But may or may not.
You think
My hope, my goal is to have it done. I've already had a plumber there to look at it and he said not a problem. The biggest hurdle in this, if I'm gonna do this, I wanna make sure it meets ADA with all this we've been through. And when I sketched it out, it wasn't gonna work. It was not gonna work. You're gonna have one toilet sitting this way, you're gonna have to go around the corner. It wasn't gonna work, so I contacted Rhett and I got with Mr. Oski right away and let him know what I did. I just asked for a drawing to make sure we meet, and then I will take it from there.
Thank you, John.
Anything else? New West? Righto.
Mr. Chair, I just have one comment with all of the schools. I had made note, I'd gone through on the district website and looked under each school to see what kind of information I could gain off of each school, see if handbooks were in place, what information was available to parents. And I came across a bit of a discovery.
Okay.
So we do have, from what I can see, in each individual school, and the website is a bit difficult to navigate, but what I can see is that Meadowlark underneath their school has a handbook. Cloud Peak underneath their school has a handbook. Clear Creek Middle School also has a handbook. KC has a handbook. Under their individual schools, New West does not have a handbook, and neither does VHS.
Okay.
However, if you go into the Johnson County School District website, we can find all of those. And so I would like to see, because sometimes people aren't going on to the district website overall. They're just paying attention to their individual schools. And I would like to see possibly those be updated and maybe put the handbooks. I would like to see the policies within the school because with the collaboration that we have between New West and VHS, there might be some things there that we need to clean up or keep clear. So just an encouragement to the building leadership. While it is on the district website, all the handbooks, just a thought, and I don't know if it's going to be difficult because I'm not a tech person, but I would like to see that update. Just because if you are a parent that are specifically looking at that school, you may or may not think to go to the district.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Lynette, can I ask, do you remember which day you did this search? We're in the process of putting up the new handbooks for this year, so.
Because I didn't write my question down, thanks Mike, I just looked.
Like just now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I confirmed as
So-
we're working on those.
So,
things.
Mr. Chair,
And
this
like I
is,
said, it's on the district website, but it's not on the individual schools.
so
Yeah,
this
thank
is, this is part of the, communication audit that's gonna take place in that document. So I showed you everybody, they're gonna go visit with all the schools, they're gonna see what the website looks like. So that's something that we can note to make sure they're looking at what the handbooks look like. Also, in addition to that, the work that Bridget's doing to create a staff handbook, and I think we've all agreed in that flow chart that I presented to you as a board of trustees that we're gonna change individual buildings from a handbook to a guidebook, so that there's not confusion with that. So we are in the process of trying to clean some of that up.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Anything else? Superintendent report.
I entertain taking any questions from you as a board of trustees.
Anybody got questions for the super? Anything on? We're going to cover several of these topics. None? Okay, next up. Director reports.
Mr.
Facility.
Zink, did you get your part for the elevator?
No, I did not. I don't know what TKE means by overnight. I don't know where it's overnight from.
You didn't know which
Different
night,
language. If it's overnight down in Tortoise or what it is, but the similar thing happened with the last part that was overnighted. It took about 10 days to get here.
Elevator stuff, all these things.
Yeah.
The good news is you should have it up and running by.
It's
by
making
the
a weird
school year
noise right
starts.
now, so, and it does move, it just moves too fast.
Yeah.
So, well, go for riding, like,
It goes 50 feet too fast, and is that a minute, a second, or what?
minute. If it free falls, the governor is to stop, it's all in the safety,
Okay.
everything's electronic.
Right,
In the old days, you used to be able to change springs out in the governors to adjust them. Everything now is computer chip.
of course.
So they had to order a new governor. And it's all in the same, it's all for the life safety of the elevator.
The life safety or the safety of people in there.
Well, yeah, so it doesn't slam
When
down.
it falls, you don't go.
A little bit of both.
We're not.
But you're gonna get it, John.
I
We've
don't,
gone from, with Mr. Oscom there and I, we've gone from short-term goals to long-term goals to short-term again,
Back to short.
and then we're gonna go long-term again. But it will be a short-term goal.
I think TKE is gonna be taking off my Christmas card days. I mean,
Yeah, it's atrocious.
And I'm still working with TKE on trying to get 2 years of free service that we pay for to keep our gold service. So that's still on the table. Because I keep getting a different name higher up. And then I add that name to the email, and that's when I get a response.
well, tell me you got 9 board members and be ready to have a discussion with them, because enough's enough.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It is, and
Bring
I'm
them here,
sure.
let them know what we've been through, and you've been through, and Mr. O's been through.
I
It's
can tell
just
you
not
another story that I have. The state fire marshal's office has also sent emails.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, so it got some attention.
excellent.
So it doesn't matter. This is happening all over the country. It's not just Johnson County.
Elevators are hard to do. You can't find taxis.
They really
I don't know why.
Sheridan County Hospital is experiencing the same thing for just as long as we have.
So
Campbell County's
I
having
just want to
an-
answer, this isn't the lack of effort from his part, my part, your
Oh,
part.
heavens no, I'm not saying that. I'm
But
saying.
I think the public needs to hear that. I mean, the public needs to hear that we haven't just put this on the burner. John and I follow up. It's something where, again, we don't control what we don't control in this process. However, we've been through a full ADA audit with engineers. We're doing almost $750,000 in ADA compliance issues with the state. So there's anybody that can't come back and say that what we've done to fix ADA compliance within BHS, KC, and the middle school, we're taking it seriously. But with the elevator process, I want to be very clear. It isn't that. I think the community needs to hear we're doing the best we can with what we have.
And I'm not, Mr. Oskey, I'm not going on you. I'm going on TKE.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, I don't know what I don't know, but it just seems like we have been through the ringer with them.
Yep.
And we need that 2 years gold
Yep.
platinum service.
And not, but we now have an issue with the middle school elevator that we'll be addressing too, so.
Okay.
That's something that John is already starting to work on also, as he's reported before, so.
Get on that, Mr. Wesson. That's your deal.
There's gonna be a lift up the stairs.
I just wanna get one elevator done before we tear into another one.
Yep.
Anything else for facilities? Questions for any of the rest? Nutrition,
So-
tech.
Yes, Mr. Chair. On nutrition, and I know Ricky isn't here, Connie, maybe you can answer this. It's the end of the school year. How close were we to breaking even in food service, or how much did we have to
We've moved
supplement?
we've moved today 200,000, so we probably have to move a little bit more. We'll know in the last part of June. And I think we have about $5,500 worth of debt that we still have to collect on. So
So you moved a little over 200,000. So if you break that down to the amount of food served, how much is that per meal that's a shortfall? And I don't expect you to know that off the top of your head, but
it's like, whoa, I gotta get my calculator.
you can, I'll visit with you
Okay.
other day about that and see, because I'd just like to know, do we need to consider upping the lunches, which I hate to do, but that's
Yeah,
my.
we're gonna come to you in July with that. We talked to Ricky a little bit as she went to New Zealand, so she's not gonna talk to us about it till she returns.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, well, go ahead and have a good time in New Zealand. Yeah, so we really need to look at that and see what that looks like.
So kind of asked before, and I'm a supporter of it, the local beef and stuff. Is there any way to get some kind of a receipt for people that donate for a tax deduction?
We do a receipt for them.
Excuse
We
me?
do a receipt and we write a letter to them
We do that? When did we start that?
several years ago.
But yeah, I think you're wanting
Excuse me?
you want an amount.
Well, sure, if you're gonna use it as a tax deduction, you need to
That's
know.
what we don't.
Oh, yeah, right.
We don't have to pay, it's all we can.
Other questions? Technology report, transportation, anybody?
I have a technology question.
Go.
But she's not here, is she?
We can try to answer it though.
Okay, so I have been receiving questions about what are, I mean, I know as a parent what are, what do I want to call it? The maintenance fee or whatever that we pay for the Chromebooks. But I was looking and I was curious because I was looking at her report and I saw that we have like almost 50% of the students are causing repairs at this middle school. And I know my kid is one of them, so I'll use her as an example. What program or what do we have going on for these Chromebook charters? Like these things are not made like to last a lifetime and definitely barely through junior high. But like, what actually is that covering if it's not covering, like we're paying out of pocket as a parent for those types of expenses, like when our kid doesn't return the Chromebook with the Chromebook charger that was assigned to them their 6th grade year, like.
So when I got here, that payment were self-insures. So instead of going out and purchasing this payment is to be as a self-insure, so if anything breaks down. So rather than having adding a very expensive cost to parents through doing a third party, the district has tried to do a self-insure. So that money that parents pay is what kind of helps keep the Chromebooks up. So it kind of offsets the cost. So we're kind of in the process, and I could be wrong.
But do we need to have, I guess my question is, do we need to have something in place to cover like the lost, broken in? I mean, because I would rather pay that as a parent than, I mean, I can order a Chromebook charger for $15 off of Amazon, but I'm paying $36 to replace it.
So we'll go back. I'll have Chrissy write up a report and kind of explain to you as a board. Is that fair?
Yeah. Which is not a huge thing, but like, look at it. There's 137 repairs, 255.
And if
And
you
they're
put that
guilty
in,
of it.
if you put that into perspective, so reality is we have almost 1,160 kids with some type of Chromebook.
Yep.
So that percentage of what repairs are, whether it's a missing key, that percentage of actual Chromebooks that are destroyed. So some of that, I know we rob off old Chromebooks to fix the current ones
Right.
that we have, with also the intention, and Gib, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember at Buffalo High School, they receive one as a freshman, and if it's taken care of, they get to keep it at the end of their senior year. So those do get replaced and actually becomes the student's possession. They wipe them clean, and it becomes something that they do. So we'll have Christy write that some of that
I
stuff
was just
up.
curious because honestly, I would rather like spread out my funds throughout the year than get the whole big giant. This is what you owe.
Here's the invoice at the end.
Yes.
That's fair.
So, and I'm up for paying extra for service stuff because that's all. That's all I have.
Other questions, other thoughts for the directors? Hearing none. Rec board.
So we divvied out our monies last month. And part of what we did, we took some of that and just decided we wanted to keep this much so we can kind of have that level instead of going these ups and downs with the tax revenue that we're collecting. So every year we can kind of count on, we can be kind of steady and people can understand that. So I added up everything we gave to the school and it was $112,850. But I did question the Bison Clay Target Sports. Is that considered school or not? I don't really know where to put them. Are they associated with the school?
So
or
I'll
not
give
really?
answer to
They're
that
a
question.
club?
So.
Yeah, they are a club at Buffalo High School. We partnered with the 4-H.
So you wouldn't, I didn't add that into that.
It's not it's not sponsored by the school district.
Yeah,
It's just a
so the
club.
school doesn't give them anything.
Correct. That's
Okay,
correct.
so they did receive funds, but I didn't count that in here, so. But I also did look and see, so the school requested $145,000, we gave $112,000 to them this year.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
there was a couple that I hope they know to come back next year that we put it on the, let's do that one next year instead of this year.
And again, the total revenue from last year was what?
Oh, I think I have it right here. Oh, no, wait, never mind. I don't. That was how many, there was a $701,000, or, yeah, $100,000 requested from us, but
300 some thousand, is that what it was?
what we gave,
No, what you have from last year's revenues.
look at that. It's probably on our balance sheet.
Yeah, I think it is. We just gotta pull that number out here. Total assets came out to $1,322,950.59.
So there's some that's like, so you have to go
Yeah.
back. It's hard to understand this sometimes. I always have to say, Jack, can you tell me? So I thought we had a total of like around 500,000 we could divvy, and we gave 438 of that and
Okay.
chunked the rest
Yep.
for next year.
That makes.
So we saved that much to put for next year.
You saved 400,000?
No, we gave out 430,000 and
Okay.
from out of 500,000, so we kept about 60,000 for next year.
So which
On
will be a
top
part
of
of-
what we will receive and to try to keep that level.
Yeah.
General ledger total on page 6, Marcia, maybe is what we're looking for.
Oh, okay.
Bottom line. Opening balance, debits, 400,000, 262.17. Credits, 418,434.20. Ending balance was 100,000, 320.99. Does that sound like what we're after?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay. So page 6, bottom row, I think is that number.
Gotta be able to.
And
I know, you gotta
was
get
gonna
tilted,
say,
I can't
wish
rotate.
that could
Yeah.
be
Flip
If you download it to your computer, then you can rotate it in PDF editor.
I'll flip my head.
Any other questions, rec board? Anybody? Okay. BOCES.
We just had our regular monthly meeting. There wasn't anything earth shattering for that. So it's just business as usual.
Business as usual. BOCHES.
Not heard a word from anyone. Neither of you, Jen?
No.
Charles?
No.
No.
Which
I thought we
is
were supposed to
surprising.
have, I thought we were supposed to have a
Surprising.
meeting in April.
However, we aren't collecting the revenues for that, so.
Okay. Next up, consent agenda. Minutes, warrants, employment, coaching, sponsor renewal, and procurement acknowledgement. Questions, thoughts, comments?
Motion to accept it.
Please.
So moved. I didn't make the motion. I make the motion.
Lynette made the
No,
motion,
Lynette got it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
but I need a second on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second.
So I do have a question. On the coaching, when you have a head coach, does he, she get to pick their assistant coach? How does that work?
So one of the processes that we talked about, and I had the call, is we allow the head coach that when they get that position to determine whether the assistant coaches or whether they want to re-interview. So that's kind of where we're at with that process. I know there's been a comparison of what have been done in other activities, but the reality, they're two completely different things. So we have head soccer, head football, head basketball right now. And so after those positions are hired, and I had a conversation, the head coach now, whether he wanted to stay with the coaches or re-interview was a conversation that we have, but again, that stays with the head coach that we hired for that position.
So I don't know that I got the answer.
Yeah, does it
So
mean,
af-
let me ask, does it mean the head coach can say, no, I don't want this person, I want this person? Or,
So if the head coach wants to reopen the positions and interview all of them, then that's a choice the head coach will make after they're hired.
Coach can call for applications from any interested.
So
and that's a totally different way of doing business, am I right or not?
I don't know how have you done it in Johnson County before?
Well, I can't say because I've been out too long, but we used to be, I mean, we're not the NFL, we can take our coaches that we have.
Absolutely, and that's what we're doing here. We're supporting those coaches, and as of right now, those coaches are all on the list per recommendation of that coming back. But if there's a head coach that has a concern about his staff,
Okay.
then that's a conversation needs to happen with the AD and the principal, and then they determine what happens there.
So
Even
Charles,
after
when
we
you-
already offered them even after we already offered them a contract?
So those are conversations we've had with the assistant coaches. So if that's
Okay.
something after a year, we've had that conversation with assistant coaches coming in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gib, that's a conversation you had with the people that you interviewed and recommended for the positions, correct?
Go ahead.
So when you offer this contract and the head coach doesn't particularly want to employ that individual, what happens?
So those conversations have already taken place right now that's what we're recommending here tonight. So we would have changed some recommendations we have here at the board. If you as a board want to make an action on how we want to do head coaches as a replace programs, we can implement that here tonight and move forward. We can also hold off on the hiring of coaches until July.
That's not fair to kids.
So as of right now, what's in front of you is what Gib and Ryan have talked with all assistants and head coaches. They've agreed upon and they're moving forward.
They know that the call for interviews is a possibility. The head coach gets to make
So
the
they've
decision.
already confirmed that the head coach has said, correct me if I'm wrong, Gib, the head coach said he's fine with the coaching staff that's underneath it.
And for me, I gotta be honest, I have a little bit of trouble with that. There's one that's up for renewal that costs the district a lot of money in legal and HR fees, so.
And I want to
Struggle
remind
with
you
that.
that that investigation came out and the recommendation we're based upon is what came out of that is there was nothing as a district that we had to, that was illegal or required us to not renew them for that position.
The results of HR's determination.
And I want to be very clear. I mean, we were told not to go into the details, but there were two sides to that story, and there were adamant interviews about both of those positions and the support of those from different entities. So there was a lot of money. I don't disagree, but I feel as a superintendent, you as a board of trustees, we also have the right to make sure that we are not judgmental, and this investigation was done fairly.
Yeah. Third party always costs more. Uninterested parties got to be compensated.
And I also have to be honest to the community here. This is not the only investigation that we've completed. So to put the spotlight on just activities in themselves, we've done this before, and this is kind of what we've done is follow the recommendation of the third party as we do these investigations.
Yeah. Other thoughts, questions,
Mr.
comments?
Chair?
Yeah.
I always try, since I've been on the board, to make it a policy that, you know, when we get to employment, if we have a retiree, to kind of say, you know, thank you,
Thank
Bonnie.
you and
Bonnie
well
has
done.
been with us for how many years? I never taught with Bonnie. I was in a classroom some. I kind of know her. If I was having a bad day, I'd go by her room just to hear her laugh. Because you can't be in a bad mood after you would hear Bonnie laugh. And if you never heard her laugh, you're missing out. So she's been with us a long time, and I appreciate it.
Excellent call. It's right that we acknowledge that long time service and thank her for having been here so many years, helped so many students. Good call, Jen.
Come to a track meet, and you'd hear a middle school track meet, and you'd hear Bonnie's voice.
You got some chuckles from the crowd there. That must be good.
And then, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Jay, you want to go through this a little bit?
So if we're to the point, let's come back to where we're at and we can explain the process. So this is part of what I explained to you as a board of trustees, what we're trying to do with the weight room.
Yes.
And so there's a procurement, so there was a set of equipment. One of the many pieces of equipment that's being put into it fell into that category of funding that went through the procurement policy. So Jay, you are up to kind of explain what we are doing. And then we can talk about some of the equipment that we're not going to use, and Connie can help answer that question.
Yeah.
Do you want me to? Yes.
Are we like past the?
You want to wait till procurement?
Because I don't think we're on the thing
yet. No, Jan asked the question, so unless you're.
Oh, are we moving on, or can
Just
I
doing
come
the
back
procurement. We'll can come back.
So
Yeah,
let's,
we can always come back.
let's finish the
Okay.
employment piece, then we'll bring that
Oh,
together.
okay.
You just let me know when you will. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jay.
No, don't worry.
Because I will forget. So for the middle school, the activities director, Ron,
Yes.
how do you feel
Is that too much?
about a double role? Because that worries me a little bit.
Good
that-
question.
You're gonna be like in principal mode, and how are you doing both?
Well, let me tell you this, I've been an activities director for 10 years at Clear Creek Middle School, and I'm very comfortable with that already because I've been doing that job for 10 years. And I can tell you going into the summer, I probably have 50 to 75% of it already completed. Because the scheduling starts in the spring, and you just
I
start
don't know the
rolling
schedule.
from there.
Come on.
What's that?
I haven't gotten my kid's schedule.
True, but the schedules are ready, and I can forward them to every board member tonight.
Okay.
They are completed. Now we're in the process of putting them on the calendar. I'm not real quick to always put a winter one up right away because more times than not, I'll come back in September and boom, boom, boom. We're changing basketball. We're changing this. We're changing that. The fall is completed. Everything's completed schedule-wise, but everything is being uploaded to the calendar as I speak right now. It's done. Everything's a hard copy and can be sent out at any time. In fact, I've already shared the hard copies with our fall coaches, and I've shared our copies. I always like to share it with Jen Skaggs, who updates our website, so that's available to our parents as well. So I feel very comfortable with that just because it's a process, and it's just a process you have to stay on top of.
Okay.
And it's March, April, May. I mean, I always found it interesting that you go, okay, we start over in August, and that's not true. It's June, it's July, start contacting officials. I've already contacted Chuck Wren, our football association for middle school. He's been in touch with officials. So it's just an ongoing process. I feel very good about it. It's about covering events. We have an events coordinator position posted on the district website. It's been posted for the past 6 weeks. I'm hoping to get some interest. If not, then we'll go to plan B like I did last year. We had a resignation with Matt Overton, who moved to another position at a public golf course. And what did we start doing? We looked at other people in our building, throughout our district, who could cover those positions. So that's where I'm at as an activities director. I'm feeling very good about where the process is, planning it, everything's posted, everybody's notified, meeting with coaches, meeting with parents. Those are already taken care of. It's just a matter of covering events. And as a principal, I'm going to be there too. So
Right. Well, that's where my concern is. I want you to really succeed as a principal. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I will. It will be taken care of.
Go.
Like I said, it's a job I've been doing for 10 years since being in Johnson County. And to be honest, it's in my back pocket all the time.
Okay.
Jones, go ahead. You had something?
No, just gonna keep it.
Okay. Anything else employment-wise? Anybody? Okay, let's get the weight room figured out. Procurement.
If you want
So start me. This procurement acknowledgement was a new idea we were coming, so the board would know about the ones that didn't meet the full criteria to come be presented and all of us go through. They're just a heads up.
My turn?
Yep.
Yes. So about 2 years ago, Charles asked me to kind of look into updating our weight room so it's a little more functional to the beliefs and the way we operate now, and kind of cleaning it out, getting it more open, getting it a little more updated for both sports and for school. So I've been through a 2-year process of bidding stuff out and looking at this stuff, and we finally came with a meeting. It's been finally after 2 years of what it can kind of look like. So in front of you, what you have is, pardon me if I'm wrong, but I'm here because the bid for the weight room, the equipment that you see right there runs about $48,000. We're also getting a new floor with some turf in it. We are getting some more dumbbells, and KC is also in the same boat as us. They're getting, I don't know about square footage, right, but they're getting pretty close to equitable size-wise and stuff. Probably, if you look at number of kids, they're probably getting more, but that doesn't matter. So it is both places that we're looking at updating. We looked at a stereo system, but that just ran too hot. What else was there? We're getting, we're looking at it. It's called a treadmill. It's a speed training treadmill that's self-propelled at the high school, so we can be way more efficient with our indoor track and training speed and acceleration and those sort of things during the winter, and hopefully keep some of the sled off of the tile that we've kind of
buzzed.
Have some marks on with that. So that was the overall process, and this road bid came in at 48 or somewhere in there. I looked at 3 other bids, if you don't mind me grabbing my phone real quick. And this was actually the 4th bid I looked at once I found out what some of these were as we get going. So pardon me as we get going. I looked into a hammer strength stuff. For those of you who've been in there, that's what's on the far wall right now is hammer stuff next to the mirrors. And for both Buffalo and us, let me get to the hammer strength. It was around $114,000 total for all of that, and I believe that we had to tear out the floor and they would come in and install it. We looked at a company through Sorinex. If you've been to Douglas, not that you all have, Douglas got a new weight room 2 years ago and updated. They went through a company called Sorinex. For Casey and us, it was $196,000. And we, Coach Walker had a buddy that's somewhere back east, and it's called Arsenal Strength, and we bid it out through him. He was the $114,000. The hammer strength stuff came in at $197,000. And that was, they would come in and do everything, take out the floor except for
the Arsenal company, and they recommended that we do it because they were out of North Carolina. So we looked into Rogue, which comes in and we get to put it together. And then we went with the local floor company to put in the floor. So it dramatically brought the cost down, because I originally think you wanted it under a specific amount. And
so we also have a local company putting in the mirrors too, right?
Yeah. Yes, and the mirrors as well. Yes, I forgot about that. Sorry. Yes, and the mirrors. So.
And one of the intentions is Jay has put this together, but KC will have something very similar for their size of school. But he's also agreed to help provide the necessary training for the new PE teacher to kind of help with the program that kind of fits around what we're trying to do in the weight room. You can move a lot more kids through this process now. This is just for athletics, it's for PE and for the summer programs, correct?
Yeah, it is. And so if you're familiar, this will actually double as a general ed for our physical education and for our strength and conditioning stuff too. If you look, there's pull-up bars that go in between each one of the rigs, and the rigs are the little things where the weights are at. So if you need me to slow down or come show you, please let me know, because this is English to me and it might be German to you. So we do a lot of hanging, pulling, and pushing at the basic elementary, or I should say at the elementary, at our general ed PE level. And this provides a great opportunity to do that with the bars that we hang. The benches we got are foldable, so they kind of fold up and we can set them to the side. So we have all of that space as well as that track in the middle to do, or the turf in the middle to operate with anything. If we were to do a general workout of, let's say that we're going to do maybe some dumbbell bench for a push, pull maybe our pull-ups. We maybe do some core with some hanging knee raises. And then we may actually jog a lap down the hall or sprint a lap depending on the type of stimulus we're looking at for the kids. We can put everything aside and we can fit quite a few kids in as we can go for that. And then it also doubles for our summer stuff that we're doing. And all that stuff comes in, and now we can have the bars and the weights and all that. So its functionality is actually pretty awesome for what we believe in doing. So it allows us to kind of meet both needs of general prepared readiness for life and movement, as well as more athlete-based training in speed, because we prefer speed to train first, then power, and then strength on top of that. So, and that's more of our advanced strength training that we do with our athletes and the people that choose to come in the summer.
So how many kids are we servicing with this throughout the day in the summer?
So far, tomorrow will be our start of our third week. We go Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We've had 111 kids show up once. So, and most of those are multiple offenders. I just looked at because we collect, so tomorrow we're going to run 10-yard flies again, which is as long a run as you want, but we're measuring you 10 yards to 10 yards, and you go as fast as you can. So I was looking at that, and we have 111 kids that are on the list that have been once out of 6 days. That would be it. This will be our 7th day come that. So, and that is 7th through 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
So yes, and last year that was one of the recommendations from Mr. Oski was to start at the younger level too with that, which is actually awesome too, because when we bring those younger level kids in, we start them at a level 1, which is air squats. It's all...
You're teaching fundamentals.
Yes, first. And then our level 2 is you choose the weight. Level 3 is, I'm going to use a little science and say you need a little bit more and stuff like that. So when we break that in there. When we operate first, we go down and we do the speed training stuff first. We've broken them down into our Tuesdays is our speed day. So we want to try and work speed, and that's vertical force up and down at that top end speed. We found a new guy by the name of Tony Villani, who is a change of direction guy, and he actually trains speed. So if you're a 40 combine guy, he has trained 9 of the 15 fastest defensive backs ever with his combine. However, he has a program that uses speed, but he calls it gain speed, to create separation, and I think it's a great fit for where we're at, since we're on the bottom end of the upper end, to gain an advantage of our kids hopefully being a little bit more technically sound, being able to make a step and create separation. And a game of inches, a foot and a big deal. So we're involving some of that, and that's our change of direction day, which is on Wednesdays. And we do things like what's called a roll 90. So we have we start them at start, and they have a 5-yard buildup, and then we time them to a 5-yard, and then it's a 90-degree change to another 5 yards. So they actually run 10 yards, but it's a round. And we call it a roll 90 because it's actually faster if you plant, dip,
plant. So you go 45, 45, you roll it, then it is what he calls a break plant and then separate. And he also goes a white base crossover. So depending on where your leverage is and where your foot is, you can be a little bit closer and do that. But if you're going at 100% of your speed, stopping or braking is tough. However, if we can train learn to do that at 85 to 95% of speed, and we look like we're going 100, we can gain some separation and some advantages for our kids. So that's the thinking behind our change of direction day. And then we work acceleration, trying to train that on our Thursdays. And acceleration is more of a horizontal force or horizon force, because you're out and with the ability to get into that vertical force. So we broke them into those 3 days this year. So that's a little bit about the summer program. That might be overkill, but. So in addition to that, Jay's been doing some work, and the presenter that we're bringing in at the beginning of the year has a lot about the growth mindset. So in addition to what we're doing in the weight room, we're taking that into staff. So we're doing some growth mindset this year. So it kind of leads off of what we've done last year with the author that came in and talked about some different things that we're trying to do with not only students but teachers. So in addition to this will be a great addition to that growth mindset piece that we're trying to bring in for students, staff, and we're going to have a community meeting on that kickoff day. So it kind of all leads into some different things. One of the requests that I made of Jay is not to put more work on facilities with all the stuff we have going on. So he has organized all of that with putting this together, pulling the floors out, getting local people to come in, because in reality, it's not just 110 kids during the summer, it's a lot of kids during the normal school day. And some of these things we'll also be able to do if you go up in the mornings or after school. That facility is constantly used. So, and it is for staff. So a lot of free weight movement, a lot of theory, a lot of research behind it, but more importantly, Jay, Ryan, and it sounds like majority of the coaches have bought into the process. So it'll be exciting to see where we are in a couple of years with what we're going to try to do for kids and conditioning.
Mr. Chair. Yes. First of all, we can tell you have a passion.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate all of the work you do in the summer with 111 kids.
Yeah.
That's not heard of.
And hopefully we get more, but that's, we'll see.
So what is your, how many periods a day, or I mean, how often during the school day do you offer this class? And then what is your enrollment?
So our classes, last year I had one strength and conditioning class at 37. Actually, I think it ended at 34, so it was really, really booked.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, it is, but some of that was to show the demand, selfishly, you know what I mean? So, and to serve kids with that. So we had that there. We added 2 years ago women's strength and conditioning. The first year it had 21. This year it had 14, I believe, but it butted up against physics, which took a few of those kids out and scheduling and all that sort of stuff. During our classes, our sophomore classes, we're a little bit bigger, averaged 22. However, some were 34, some were 14 scheduling. And our freshman classes, I think, were around 24 again. I think Ryan had a class of 33 and then a class of 9. So they average around 20. When we double use it, which happens during our strength and conditioning class, 2 of those, and then one of them we team up together. We had as many as 50 kids in there at one time.
So basically, this equipment's going to be used every period?
Yes, unless we have a downtime, yes. Okay. And it's beautiful equipment. This equipment is awesome because they're more for garage gyms. So they have sweet little add-ons that you can kind of get. They have a little panel that has storage hooks on it and stuff like that. And you can add a bunch of stuff onto this as we get going, which will be awesome once we figure out what we can do if we can get this stuff, is to add on to that. It's we were able to put racks, as you can see, so our medicine balls and some of that stuff are going to be in the weight room instead of in another spot. So yeah, but it is set up to be both general ed.
This will hold up.
Yes. Oh yeah.
To all that use.
Yes. Yeah, and the floor we got, we didn't go with the 1/2 inch. We went with the 3/8 instead of 1/4 for that same reason. So we'll stand. So yeah, so that was part of my expectation is the cleans and different things that you do, you destroy a floor. I mean, your clean platforms that you have now are right.
One of them is, it's shot.
It's shot. So putting a floor underneath some of these systems and making sure we have rubber around some of these things is what's going to make this last. Obviously, there's just some expectations of how we maintain the room, but there's going to be a lot more kids that run through this process, and we don't have to worry about. We can get some things done in it and not the hallway where there's a concern with the floor downstairs. So I'm excited, and I think it's going to be long term for kids. This is an equipment that's going to just break overnight, but it gives a good start for what we're doing, and it will equalize what we're doing down here in KC. Same facility, same equipment for the number of students that we serve.
So will KC actually get new equipment? Like, we're not just getting like
No,
the equipment.
you're getting
Buffalo doesn't
no,
want.
no. You're getting the exact same thing that you got.
I was trying. That's why I was
Do you mind if I come over?
There's Buffalo.
Yeah. Do you mind if I come over and show you?
No, please. I was
Okay.
kind of
So
trying
I'm
to
gonna go
compare.
on visual
you
as
know.
well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
So we are getting 8 stations. You're getting 2.
Okay.
And it'll basically go, I'm guessing, right here on your weight room, which is much shorter. The drinking fountain's right here, the door's right here. And then they're gonna keep 4 of the old pieces. They're gonna go there along with the regular equipment.
Okay.
So, and we're also updating these on those and kind of those.
So we're just getting a smaller scale version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Which is probably per kid, would be greater. But I'm not. Yeah. Which I mean is probably deserved, to be honest.
Okay.
And we can look at that facility as we're exiting here tonight, just so you see the upgrade that's going to happen there. So.
It's space. The space.
Yeah.
It's empty.
It's empty.
Oh, it's empty. You made the space.
Be like, man, they need some
So you
stuff.
took it initiative last week and made it happen?
He did it today. I couldn't come down and help him. I had to go down to 4 Mile Bay and support the family. So.
Jay, does weight equipment evolve that often?
So it's kind of like education. It goes in cycles. So as you'll see here in 10 years, you're going to come back and all of that. It goes up and down. It goes to fixed machine, to open, to free weights, to CrossFit.
So how much will you keep? That's in
So that's a great question. I haven't got to that yet. I think you did. So we're going to keep 4 of the pieces that we have. And then the question was what to do with the others, which, to be honest with you, stressed me out for the last 2.5 years because it's good stuff. It's just the space that we have and to run the volume that we have and even the way that you do it because you're seated and moving and you do develop strength there, but it's seated strength. It's not 360 degree strength. Yeah. I mean, and which is important at certain times at times if you're beginning or injured or getting older, right? So it is good and that stuff is awesome, but to put 50 kids in there and run them through body weight stuff was tough. And what we kind of come up with is somehow we met with Tucker, and you can come up if you want to. He owns the Buffalo Athletic Club, and he's willing to look into the stuff that we have. And we just found out today that it does need to go out to bid, which we want to respect, and we go from there. So what we were talking about working out with Tucker was using the stuff that we don't have, and the stuff in KC's doubled up, so we have to look at what that looks like. Tucker has generously offered to give 12 school district members a year a membership to his gym at a cost of $55 a year. That would be $660. Anyway, over the course of 10 years, if we were to follow this program, that would be almost $80,000 of trade. With that. He also, and this isn't part of the numbers, I had the opportunity to teach Tucker, and he's really passionate about kids. He really is. He was a fun kid to teach, and he wants to give back to the community and to the kids. Part of what he wanted to do, and this was the first thing he wanted to do, he's like, hey, I just want you to know, I want 10 freshmen a year, they have a free 4-year membership to my gym. He's like, I want a scholarship to do it. I would like them to sign a little letter of intent that I will graduate, so that I can go on to do that. So if you were to double that, it would be around $158,000 if you counted that 10 years. He wants to do it for the rest of his life. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because I'm a firm believer in putting back into kids because that's who's going to be taking care of us when we get older. And these days, there's a lot going on in the world, and we're in a great community. We've got a great town between between Buffalo and Casey. Johnson County is amazing. Got great people. I want to give back. I want the kids to have a good spot to go, to do creative things instead of. I was a little wild when I was younger. It's something you might know. I just had to harness it in the right direction. So I'm hoping that I can get some kids that want to do football or whatever they want to do. But let's get them healthy. Let's keep this promoting health and just make the world go round. Longevity in life. So I would love to do that for the rest of my life. So when the boys take over the business, they're going to have to. It's going to be in the contract and say you got to keep this going.
Tucker, that's really generous.
Yeah. Like I guess it's.
So it's a dream come true that we have somebody who has a passion for. When I came here, the coaches are volunteering anywhere from 80 to 110 kids. They were volunteering every morning, doing some things. This puts a weight room that they believe in. We did a kind of a short stint last year through the rec district to pay for some salaries because they've never been paid. In my personal belief as a superintendent, this is how we start getting kids more involved. We have 85, probably close to 90% of our kids that are participating in activities. Part of that presentation, Ryan's presentation of what our kids are being successful at, and those success stories are great, but it starts with the younger kids.
100%.
And just going through that theory, Dave, of what you talked about, they do go through cycles, but in order to get the younger kids involved, equipment that we are looking to trade with him, you can't have a little kid. It depends on body size, the length of your legs, the length of your arms, how big your chest is. So teaching the core movement at a young age so that kids don't get injured, because it's not like Jay's going to ask a 7th grader to clean 100 pounds. As a matter of fact, it's with probably could be with a piece of PVC pipe.
Yep. We're going to start with the squat.
We're going to start with the squat. So
before we get into a clean, and then we'll work on it.
The nice thing about this program, and I'll just go back in history. 30 years ago, it was bigger, faster, stronger. It was a core. Everybody believed in it. It was about core movement. Theoretically, Jay is more advanced with what it used to be, bigger, faster, stronger. But it's the same concept when you look at it. It's the very same concept of what successful programs are doing. When we went and visited Powell, Thermopolis, and Worland, they're doing the exact same thing with kids. So it's those summer programs. It's not just an after-school program. It is during the school day. So it's a health and fitness thing that we're trying to do with kiddos. And then it comes back to that whole mental mindset. That's one thing we haven't talked about here. So giving back to the community, that's that collaborative piece that we're talking about, what we're doing in our community, community members and donating. But when you have kids after school in the summer in front of coaches, guess what? We are monitoring kids.
Where they're at.
We are probably seeing more kids in summer school through this weight program of monitoring where they are health-wise and what they're doing than we are in traditional summer school, right? So. And more importantly, some of these kids are coming in at what time in the morning?
We go 6 to 6:45.
So we got kids getting up. They don't get up to come to school that early in some cases. However, when you have kids coming at that early age in the morning, that tells you that we got good things going on at BHS. We got kids that believe in the coaches systems and they want to get themselves better. So this is kind of like a curriculum enhancement, except it fits right into what the coaches at the high school and the PE teachers have been doing. Fair?
Yeah.
And in all honesty, you believe in it, correct?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That was hard to tell.
Yeah. We had the opportunity to go to a conference, and we're early adopters of a program that, in my opinion, in 10 years is going to be common practice
and top tier.
Yeah. Like Alabama just kind of went to this line of thinking. We started this line of thinking before they did.
Cool. The only thing I think we need to clarify is what a shredder is, because in some cases that could be the wrong terminology, because I had to ask that question.
Yeah.
So if it's something KC needs down the road, I'm willing to look at that piece, but it takes some training and you have to have some systems in place to do that. It really doesn't shred people and spit them out, so it really has a process.
It's self-propelled, yes. And
Sounds
it's not banana though. Because so if you're looking at specifically at so speed starts when you start, so you project yourself. and that's like the first 2 or 3 steps. And then you accelerate. So you kind of come, and then you get to top end where you're bouncing and you're going. This machine, so if you look at the ones that go, they're curved. If you look at where the foot strikes and how you propel, you never step in front of you and pull the ground to you. So those machines, they work once you get it going, but they don't work that, you don't work projection. They don't work that start of that acceleration phase, that first 0 to 8 steps, which probably 80% of your speed is developed. And so that paw out in front is already bad acceleration mechanics. So this is a flat one where you have to get going on your own, and it rises up and down and has a mechanical or a magnetic resistor, so you can add some resistance to it, which if you incline it, you have to lean forward, so you are now in your acceleration phase. Yeah, so it's pretty, but it's self-propelled, so it goes as fast as you move it.
And so it's also about setting PRs.
Yeah. Yep.
So now kids are seeing success. All right, they're not comparing to one of the things Bigger, Faster, Stronger had is All-American status and some different stat. This is about setting personal records. Where are you at? How do you get better? And then when you start breaking those, because you'll plateau.
Yeah.
Anybody that's been into the weight room or the athletic portion of piece of things, you plateau at some point or time. So with this, those little steps, those little successes, all right, as you move up through. That student that can squat 400 pounds or can bench 200 and, the whole thing used to be, wow, you can bench 315 pounds. That doesn't mean you're a great athlete. So we're taking care of the core. It used to be curls for the girls, benches, and how much you could do for the squats. That was used to be the traditional way of looking at weight rooms. Frankly, that's what it was when I went to school at BHS. It's how much you can bench, how much you can squat, and how much you can curl. Well, that doesn't necessarily transition into athletic ability. So the programs they're doing translates into success, athletic movement, it's sprint, and it's also injury prevention. So some of these things that they're talking about is the science for preventing injuries, especially when these teenagers are growing. So it's some exciting stuff. It really is.
Yeah, if you want, I could go on forever, and there's not much more going on.
That's quite enough.
Yeah.
That's
If you have any questions,
but Tucker, as we go through this process, Tucker has a great proposal. We'll come here, but we will definitely work through Connie to make sure we're following board policy, and so the community is aware of what that looks like. So we will continue that journey. But tonight you are approving the one item that was above 25,000, that was under 50,000, and that equipment goes in both schools.
Yes.
Okay.
Connie, this is in the budget. We knew this was coming and planned for it?
Yes.
Yes.
For 2 years.
It's a 2 years.
Well, we've been trying to get together for 2
It's
years.
the money I downloaded from ESSER.
This is ESSER money.
No.
No.
That's your money paid salaries. This is what paid back.
Yes, Marcia. I'll explain it later.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that had me worried, Tucker, was that you were going to ask the board to come use this equipment.
I'm still scared of the shredder.
Yeah, work out with it. Hay bales are great, Dave. Yeah, they do good things too. Yeah, Dave, you're
So I've referenced that some of the equipment that is getting it is for the older generation, and for different sizes. But some of those key isolations of different joints, different body parts is what some of that equipment looks like. So
yeah, it's very special.
It's not core related where you,
a lot of your strength is fulcrum based, not ground based.
All right. Thanks, you guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more passionate next time.
Yeah, you guys. Well, if you want passion, learnerlab.com. Check out Trevor Reagan. I highly recommend it. He's coming here in August.
That's
Hey, before we carry on,
So you guys will see Trevor Reagan here. We're bringing him in as a presenter. So
before we carry on, everybody silence your cell phones, please. The distractions are a little bit rough. If everybody wouldn't mind turning off the cell phone noises, please. Okay. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? That's a new record for time duration on this one. Consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
I have to say nay because of D. I approve everything else, but D, I just have a problem with that. So.
Okay, got one nay.
I said nay as well.
Okay, 2 nays. Have I got them all? Okay. Consent agenda passed. All right, next up, policy revision, second reading. Policy file, LBD, home-based education program. This is the one that we need to acknowledge. Anybody got questions, thoughts, or
This is
discussion?
second reading, right?
Second reading.
It is.
Oh, okay, motion to discuss.
We need a motion.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Motion to approve policy.
LBD.
File LBD.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Approve. LBD. Discussion. Anybody got questions or thoughts on this one? Relatively straightforward. Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving policy LBD, home-based education programs as presented, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Next up, can I get a motion for policy CFB, evaluation of administrators?
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on CFB, policy for administrators, evaluation of. Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving policy CFB, evaluation of admin, signify by saying aye.
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 Next up, policy KB, parental rights. This is the new one we're implementing due to state legislation that changed at the last session. It's long and drawn out.
And the Wyoming School Board Association.
As recommended, this is what we take, our council has reviewed. Could I get a motion for policy KB, parental rights?
So moved.
Come on, gang, you know what happens next? Help me out here. In a second, thank you. Motion in a second. Discussion on this one.
So Travis, in fair to the board, as a chairman, we did meet with Bridget. We did take the few recommendations that you had as a board back. And then she submitted those to the School Boards Association, Scott. There were a couple things Scott said not to do and a couple things that Scott was okay with. So what you see in front of you is a policy that meets state statute. So by approving this, it puts in place, but it will be something that you'll notice I sent a calendar invite for July 25th. We will discuss that a little bit later for potential picnic, but that is something that I've invited administrators to. You as a school board, we're going to do that Sheridan 1, 2, 3, and Johnson. So that kind of formulated on Friday. Along with all the Title IX changes that have come. So this is something very critical. We invited the nurses a part of this process. So this is a policy that will be high priority for us as a district with training of admin. But the cool thing about it is over the last 2 years, we've started hopefully getting collaboration between Sheridan 1, 2, and 3 and Sheridan College. So this policy then after that training in July will come back to the policy committee so that we kind of can maybe look at it and what it means and push it out to the schools. So we're following state statute. Okay.
What date was that again, July?
If I remember right, I sent a tentative invite for July 25th.
Okay.
However, the word I want to put in there is tentative.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of moving people to get into that one. Any other discussion? Policy KB. Hearing none. All in favor of approving policy KB, parental rights, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
2. Okay, that one's passed. And finally, a motion for policy, my very favorite one, policy file BEE space R. Policy beer, can I get a motion?
So.
And a second, please. And a second, thank you. Okay, discussion on policy BEE space R.
This is another one the Wyoming School Board Association wrote, correct?
I believe that's correct, Charles. If that's not true, say so. Yeah.
So just for the public to know, all of our policies are currently being reviewed. That's one of the things we discussed in the work session, that we're doing a complete audit of all policies to get in alignment with what the School Boards Association does. Travis, correct me if I'm wrong, but the intention, what we talked about at the work session, is starting to approve these in sections.
Yes.
There were 500 and some policies, and if we did that, that'd be over 14 years that we'd take to get through this. So we're gonna try to chunk it so that we can get to what legal counsel's recommendation is, get through the policies so we can actually establish employee handbooks and kind of align our procedures and policies to what we're putting in guidebooks and handbooks.
Yep.
Fair?
And then
Yep.
the intention is to go back through and send these one at a time as we find need back to the policy committee. We can fine tune them.
Yep.
At
Which I know can be very overwhelming, and it becomes a trust factor that we're gonna trust what the School Boards Association is doing with the audit with 7 other districts in relation to board policies. But it doesn't mean we're gonna stop the process of coming back through the committee and reviewing it, because that is part of leadership governance or good stewardship as a board. So we'll begin that rotation of what that looks like. But again, we have been for the last 2 years picking a hot topic and trying to bring it through policy, and then that didn't align to another policy, or it didn't align to protocol. So in order to start at the basics, this is what you as a board allowed me to do, and I appreciate it. But we're gonna start chunking this out, hopefully in July, if you are okay with that as a board of trustees, which, just as a reminder, it's gonna go through the School Boards Association. The intent is go through HR, and the intent is go through legal counsel with any of these subsections that require their overview, because they're the ones that actually have to defend anything in policy if there is an issue.
Anything else on policy BEE space R? Other discussion, comments, thoughts? Hearing none. All in favor of approving policy BEE space R signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Sorry, Jody, it was fast. Okay. Next up, transportation mechanics truck. We saw this one at the work session. What's the pleasure, board?
I make a motion to approve the bid, the transportation mechanics workshop.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion on the mechanic work truck?
Lynette, in that recommendation, would you like to put the price and where it's coming from?
Oh, sure. Do you have it? Do you have the motion?
Yeah, I think we do.
Approve as presented.
So we know which truck.
61,165.
Okay. Motion, say it again, I'm sorry.
$61,165.
To amend your motion.
From
We
Newcastle
need
Motors.
to amend the
Just so you amend your motion.
amend the motion, okay, to approve the transportation mechanics truck in the amount of $61,165.
From Newcastle Motors.
From Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
From Newcastle Motors.
Okay. Boy, party pro team, help me out here. Now do we have to vote on the amendment? Yeah, so all in favor of approving the amendment to the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Now I need any further discussion on the new rescue vehicle. Hearing none. All in favor of approving the purchase of the Chevrolet as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. I'm too fast on that, I've got to slow down. Okay. Next up is ESSER 3.
All right, so as everybody knows, ESSER 3 is one of our favorite topics that we want to talk about. So,
Can I get a motion?
We need a
Sorry.
motion first.
Were you making a motion, Jen?
No, I just said we need a motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve, and Connie, help me out here, the transfer of ESSER 3 funds.
No, you're just approving the ESSER committee report.
So this report shows you everything, so it's the ESSER plan, and it shows you the financial piece of where we've done. So part of the federal government requirements is to say we went in front of the board. So what we did with the ESSER committee is we went through where the monies went, what the plan is, where we're gonna meet that 20% for high needs, so in that documentation. So what you're approving is actually the document that we have to show that we've been in front of you as a board on how the money was spent and where it qualified for. So you're actually just revisiting and approving the plan that's in front of you, which includes the expenditures.
Okay, so if you would, Heidi, please, my motion will be to approve the ESSER 3 committee report.
Thank you.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Discussion.
And this is the last of the ESSER 3, am I right? I mean,
Yes.
Last of the ESSER period, yeah.
We have $506,000 we want to spend.
So in this process, I want to be very clear. ESSER ends, but the audits begin. So I want to be, this is part of the paperwork trail. This is part of the process of making sure we come in front of you as a board to explain what we've done with ESSER funds and how, what they're applied for. You'll notice that there's a document where Dr. Miller helped us create the research behind that for that 20% learning loss and expenditure piece. So as a board of trustees, we've also used the lawyers out of Washington when the federal investigation came here to make sure that when we downloaded ESSER funds, it was done appropriately. They actually helped us with the writing of that process. But this will sum up, we have to have everything encumbered by September and expended by December. But this won't be the last time you hear ESSER, because the next one will be ESSER audits. And hopefully we'll have some of those wrapped up in the next year or two.
Other questions, discussion on this one?
So the last of this will be spent by December.
That's our goal.
This
We have
whole-
to have it obligated by the 30th of September.
Yep.
Because that's the end of the federal fiscal year, and then we can expend it out by the middle of December. So all the decisions have to be made by September.
Other questions or thoughts? All in favor of approving the ESSER 3 committee report as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wait. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Updated superintendent contract. We worked the contract at the work session, so we're looking to roll that through the 26-27 school year. We're going to extend that contract through 26-27 school year. Have I said that right?
Yes.
Okay, then I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated superintendent contract that will be through the 26-27 school year.
Motion and a second. Discussion on this one.
I do have some questions. Charles, there was a deal in there, number 5.
If we're gonna get into specifics, do we need to do that in executive? Yes, so if we're gonna go through line items, we need to discuss that in executive. Thank you.
So Travis, as the board of trustees, and highlight of things that have happened here tonight, if you want to suspend the approval of the contract until we can answer things in executive, then let's go ahead and do that. There's several things that have come to the table, so in reality, we can suspend my contract until July, and we can answer some of those questions in executive, and we can move forward.
So is there a reason I couldn't ask the questions in executive, come out, and then approve it when the questions are answered?
That's totally up to you as a board.
Yeah, that's certainly an
That
option.
would be okay with me. I just needed clarification on items that was crossed out.
Okay, so if that's what we wish to do, we need to vote down the motion to approve. We'll discuss this in executive, come back out, and we can make another motion once those answers have been provided. Okay, if that was clear, we're gonna take this one down.
We need to vote?
Yes. All in favor of approving the superintendent contract as presented, signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Aye. Okay, so that motion failed. I need a new motion. Dave, help me with this one. We will discuss the contract as presented.
I don't think you need a motion.
We just leave it at that for now. Okay.
We can do that after executive.
Thank you. Next up, KC High School exchange students. This is,
Do we just need to?
So I'll make the motion to approve the 2 exchange students at KC High School for the 24-25 school year.
Second.
motion and a second. Perfect.
Maybe I ask.
Discussion. Go. You say,
Jake is ready.
So are you?
Are you okay with that, Jake?
Yes, we vetted these 2 students through the process. You guys remember a year ago, you guys voted on a new policy. So we took them through the committee process. It was, I feel, very valuable for not only our staff, but also for the student and the exchange program. Because there was a couple things that came out in that exchange program that they didn't have updated documentation in one of the kiddos' applicants. So they were able to update that, and I think it was an eye-opener. So it was good.
And I'd like to extend that. So the work that we did last year with the foreign, with this exchange program, and the fact is we have a committee. We put time frames around it. Jake exemplified that with the committee, came through, interviewed it. There were concerns. He went back to the organization that was recommending that. They fixed the issues on the application process. So this is a positive thing that we showed all the work that we did last year with that. So, and Gib, I'm not. Have you had any applications at this point in time?
We have not.
And Ron, you will not.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other discussion or orders or anything like that? Okay. All in favor of accepting the enrollment for the 2 exchange students at KC High School, school year 24-25, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. Okay, next up, the new 24 through 29 JCSD 1 strategic plan. We came up with the roadmap and the placemat that we reviewed at work session. Can I get a motion on these ones?
Do we need to do them individually or?
You just need to approve the strategic plan. Just not to do it.
Would make a motion to approve the strategic plan as presented. Second.
And a second. Discussion on this one. Put a lot of time and effort into that one. I was pretty satisfied with the document at the end. Other discussion, anyone? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the strategic plan as presented, signify by saying aye. 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 All opposed, same sign.
That was a lot of work, and we appreciate the community members who were involved with that.
Spent some time. All right, next action item.
It was a good process.
It was. 24-25 JCSD 1 initiative. This is part and parcel with the budget that we like. How we're going to fund some of that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 Johnson County School District number 1 initiative.
Dave, excuse me, I've got it. It's 24-25 under action.
25-26, I'm sorry.
But it's
25.
Yeah, I said it wrong too. I read that incorrect.
Yeah, 25-26.
Thank you. Sorry, my bad.
apologies.
So it starts this coming year, but it needs to be, what you're approving is we want it fully implemented by the end of, by the beginning of 25-26. I mean, at least be within that target.
So tell me the dates again, I'm lost.
So what you're approving tonight starts now, but officially should be in place by year 25, 26. A majority of this will be in place.
So we want to go 24, 26, correct?
I think that might be right. We're going to begin the work now. It should be completed in 26.
Well, most of the initiatives should be in place, yes.
Okay.
We're not going to meet every goal by then, but we are starting that direction.
Yeah, I think it was right.
So we're beginning the initiative now, and hopefully.
You are approving it this year with the intention what you approved this year, we'll revisit, but most of that should be implemented by the year 25, 26.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Please restate the motion.
Yeah, now we've got to try to restate the motion.
So I think I said it right the first time.
I do too.
Yeah.
So say it again for others.
So I make a motion to approve the 24 through 26 Johnson County School District Number 1 initiative.
Second.
And the second was okay with that restatement? Thank you. Other discussion? All in favor of approving the JCSD 1 24-26 initiative as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, got one passed too. All right, next up from the board. Additional things we need to hit tonight. Anything in from the board?
Well, from the board, since the school year's over, thank you to all the principals and admin that made the school year happen, and graduation and everything else.
Yes.
So thank you, everyone.
Well done, all of you on the graduation.
And you too, Bill, for getting the kids back and forth.
Back and forth.
Mr. Glassy? Ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
We were rolling.
Right
For
answer.
what?
The sky to fall. Anything else from the board? All right, hearing none. Next up, summer retreat barbecue with Sheridan 123 and Sheridan College. Charles, am I right?
Yes, but
Right.
I would ask that Travis, as the chairman of the board, you guys take a minute and look at your calendars. The 25th and 26th were the optional days, but I landed on the 25th to make sure that works.
Didn't you say there was a training on the 25th?
So
Yeah, we
yes,
start there,
so the 25th will start.
Oh.
So to support you guys, instead of coming back 2 or 3 days in a row, we'd have an opportunity to train admin, train nurses, because the school board's attorney will be on site. Will also give us a little bit of insight to you as a board after we do Title IX and parental rights policy. We're going to do a training on board meetings and executive sessions and be able to answer any questions. And then we'll go into whatever your, as a board, would like to do for feeding the 3 school districts and the school board, whether we're doing hot dogs and toothpicks or hot dogs and hamburgers. We will need to determine what that looks like if this date works for you guys.
The 25th.
The 25th.
We're looking at 4 o'clock.
The agenda that I sent out, I think, starts at
2:30 to 4
I was
for
gonna say,
the
how can you
training.
get that all done to start at 4?
Because Jan, you guys get through stuff real quick.
What we do? Okay.
Oh, now I see.
Yes, so we've got a legal one.
So we
training.
do, so 2:30 to 4 is going to be with administrators, boards, anybody can make it. And I think that's a really good opportunity for the board of trustees to work with district leadership and the nurses. So we'll ask a question and you'll go, oh my, that's a great question. What does that mean?
We all need to.
So that's the intent. The intent is to get experts in front of us, understand what those policies mean and what the changes mean, and answer questions. And then everybody else will exit. And then you will stay as a board along with, I've invited the other boards, because I think that's a great opportunity for all 3 school boards to be able to talk about consistency with how we run meetings in executive sessions. So that'll clarify some of that. And then when you're all knowledged up with those 2 trainings, we will take a short break and do some type of collaborative barbecue that evening, which all other districts, Sheridan 1, 2, and 3 have hosted, so it is our turn. And I think next year Sheridan Colleges will be their turn to host. This has started with the Sheridan 2 board member, who's our school board association rep. So we've started this for several years. I think Dave, you went to me, went with me, Jan's been to it. I don't know, has anybody else been to these? So it's kind of just a collaborative opportunity to meet other board members from other districts, so, yeah.
Other questions or thoughts on that one? Everybody can make that fit in a schedule somehow?
2:30 until forever.
Check.
I have 8:10.
It's just at 8 p.m., but you know how good we are these days.
Marcia, it's not forever.
Just feels that way.
But I want to come back to the tentative. We're still working out Kevin Mitchell, Scott coming over, and the other boards in their date. That was officially sent out Friday. I apologize for the last minute, but when things fall together, we have to block it out and see if we can make it work. So getting Scott secured that's why I put that tentative date down.
Okay. So the 25th starting at 2:30.
Yep.
Check. It seems like you're 40 days in front of it to me. That's not too short time.
And what's going on in Johnson County Fair?
Okay.
Just so you guys know, I am not available at all that week. My son will be in town.
Oh. Okay. Thank you. Got one conflict then for sure.
And the other boards might have conflicts too.
Yeah, we got to run it through all the. There's a lot of people on this mail list.
You may not be able to come to the training, but I can be. That's our first pre-fair. Then.
Oh, of course it is.
World's Fair, huh?
Yeah.
No
World's
burger.
Fair.
No burger.
So we'll see. But I'll do my best.
Okay. Next up, district policies, summer approval. Charles, I'm going to have to big help. I need a little
What is this?
kickstart on this one. What are we doing here?
So this is what we just talked about a few minutes ago. This is where in July, hopefully we'll start chunking policies out.
Thank you. I just got my brain crossways.
This is what we talked about a little bit earlier, but Travis, in our conversation with Bridget, we want to be very transparent to the community and the policy committee, our intent of why we're doing it this way. So it's kind of just on the radar, and hopefully things will fall into alignment. That maybe our first group of policies that we will revisit and readopt will be in July. Sure.
Can I just because I really like that policy committee. I think they do a good job, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah,
so we're not going to leave them out, right?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
In fact, we're going to work them harder.
But we're going to probably work them harder because then the policy will come back and review all the sections, the same thing as we approve and we look at it.
Okay.
But I want to come back and emphasize there's over 500 different policies or subsections that need to be addressed. And Travis, you can correct me, but district legal counsel's frustration and so HR's frustration is we're not able to address things we need to address as a district comprehensively because we're doing one policy at a time.
Yeah, so if we go in and edit one till we think it looks better, but that screws up 3 other policies somewhere else in the book that says in reference to policy that we just changed, well, none of us went through and fine-tooth comb to see the ones that were affected by that change. So the legal counsel's not very impressed with us piecemealing one policy at a time. We're going to shoot ourselves in the foot by having a policy here that says one thing and a related policy that references entirely different requirements. So.
But I think you'll agree with me too, being on the top of the committee, that I really like hearing everybody's
absolutely.
And Jen, you need to hear it. That is our intent, not to cut them out.
Okay.
No,
but that policy committee is going to have to go back and revisit the sections and hear what they have to say. As a matter of fact, we're not cutting them out. We're going to make their job harder. And as we move through the process.
Okay.
But you as a board of trustees, if we're going to follow protocol on good procedures in the district, the policy committee is always going to be coming back and revisiting policies.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing every month. That's part of governance leadership. That's part of what we're doing. We're kind of speeding up the process.
Okay.
But I got to be honest. Sometimes we've tweaked our policies so much that we're out of compliance with federal rules.
And we have found that.
And we have found that multiple times that we've tweaked it to meet our needs, and now we're out of compliance. So this is part of that cleanup process.
I understand.
Okay.
Other questions or thoughts on blocking these out to get us current?
And Heidi is working with Bridget and Stacia, and we'll try to get all of this. We're already mid-June, and July is just around the corner. So
we need them in place.
We've got a lot of work to do between now and then, along with getting our final budget approved. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, July work session.
It's like it should be the third.
Third, July 3rd.
So just label that budget work session.
Budget work session.
Okay.
Come on, I'm showing 5 in the document. Third's right.
Last year was the day after. And then the board meeting would be when? Thank you.
So for the sequence event, Travis is the chairman of the board. That work session will be critical to answer any questions because we will have approval of our final budget for 24-25 in July. And that used to be boards didn't approve their budgets till the 3rd week of July.
Right.
So now it just has to be within a window. So staying with the protocol, our budgets will be approved the 1st week of July.
Okay. Other thoughts on that one?
Connie, do you have any additions?
I'm concerned that I have a full document in front of me that we haven't discussed.
Yeah,
Did I-
that was the
Yeah.
extra session.
Okay, that was the extra one. Thank you. I about kind of like I know Connie had
So
something.
Marcia, this is Dave. This is where we also in July approved the rec mill officially, and we approved the Bochis piece of things. So that's all. Even though we already approved to do it, we'll make that final approval in July. Okay.
Okay, that is it for the regular meeting. Like a motion to enter executive session after a short recess. Motion
Second.
and a second. We'll go into executive for administrative and personnel. Per Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, personnel and legal.
We can have a short recess.
We have a short
Thank
recess.
you.
When we come back, we'll read.
Ladies, this women's bathroom here, the sink broke during the meeting, so the sink is out of order. So there's one just.
I didn't do it. It was broken before I got there.
That's why I kept disappearing. The sink broke.
We have to go to the playground for recess.
There were
Those are good.
That one